Did Sir Isaac Newton predict Nibiru? His apocalypse warning matches Planet X date. Sir Isaac Newton predicted when the end of the world will occur and bizarrely gave the same date as believers of the Nibiru apocalypse. It has emerged. The godfather of physics wrote in his findings from 1704 how the world is set to end on 2060, exactly 1260 years after the foundation of the Holy Roman Empire. Yesterday, Express.co.uk revealed 2060 is also the year that many Nibiru theorists claim the mythical planetary system will come past the Earth, causing earthquakes and volcanoes on our planet. The late veteran U.S. conspiracy theorist Jim Marrs outlined the 2060 passing date in a documentary before he died in August. Newton reached his apocalyptic conclusion by analyzing the Bible's Book of Daniel, according to his note, but how he reached the conclusion exactly is still a mystery more than 300 years later. His work on the matter, which was kept in a trunk in the house of the Earl of Portsmouth for 250 years, read, "It may end later, but I see no reason for its ending sooner. This I mention not to assert when the time of the end shall be, but to put a stop to the rash conjectures of fanciful men who are frequently predicting the time of the end, and by doing so bring the sacred prophecies into discredit as often as their predictions fail." It has led to speculation Newton may have been referring to Nibiru. The Mysteriousity YouTube channel tweeted, "So the late Jim Marrs predicted Nibiru is supposed to pass us in 2060. Weird, because that's the same year Sir Isaac Newton claimed the world would end." Newton's notes are on show in Jerusalem's Hebrew University, and the curator of the exhibition, Yemima Ben Menahem, said that the famous physicist had been guided by religion, and not science. Sir Isaac had a morbid fascination with the end of the world, and the topic was even the subject of a 2003 documentary, Newton, the Dark Heretic. The producer of that documentary, Malcolm Noam, said, "What has been coming out over the past 10 years is what an apocalyptic thinker Newton was. He spent something like 50 years and wrote 4,500 pages trying to predict when the end of the world was coming. But until now it was not known that he ever wrote down a final figure. He was very reluctant to do so." Nibiru believers are convinced the rogue Nibiru system is making its way from the outer solar system inwards, where it will wreak havoc on Earth as it passes at about 4 million miles away. They say the planet will cause the poles to switch, sparking great earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, which threaten billions of lives. The Nibiru theory emerged in 1976, when writer Zecharia Sitchin claimed two ancient Middle Eastern cultures, the Babylonians and Sumerians, told of a giant planet called Nibiru that orbited the Sunday. There have been many false arrival dates predicted, which have so far come and gone. The Nibiru theory was linked to the beginning of the end of the world by Christian fundamentalists, who believed the rapture would start on September 23 and was connected to celestial activity as interpreted from passages in the Bible. But with the world still turning, yesterday Express.co.uk told how Mr. Marrs claimed anyone saying Nibiru was coming in the next year or so was wrong. Speaking in an episode of Ancient Aliens New World Order, before he died of a heart attack, aged 73, in August, Mr. Marrs said Nibiru was not predicted to pass us until 2060, giving us more than 40 years to prepare. He said, "Nibiru is destined to return to the vicinity of the Earth in 2060, so it could be on its way to our solar system now." Some people believe this is why we have the highly erratic weather and environmental changes that we see taking place on the Earth. Of course the government acts like nothing is going on, but what else is new? Mr. Sitchin came up with the conspiracy theory after claiming to have deciphered cuneiform writing on ancient Sumerian tablets. Ancient language scholar Mr. Sitchin said the records showed the Sumerians knew of an extra planet beyond Pluto called Nibiru. Theorists say according to Mr. Sitchin's teachings the next pass of Earth will take place around 2060. Not everyone agrees with Mr. Sitchin's interpretation of the texts. NASA, and a host of other scientists have debunked Nibiru as myth. All these dates for the end of the world came and went, because as NASA points out, Nibiru is a myth and a hoax, despite the amount of believers. NASA scientist Dr. David Morrison said, "There is no credible evidence whatever for the existence of Nibiru. There are no pictures, no tracking, no astronomical observations. I can quite specifically say how we know Planet X or Nibiru does not exist and does not threaten Earth. Firstly, if there was a planet headed into the inner solar system that was going to come close to the Earth, it would already be inside the orbit of Mars, it would be bright, it would be easily visible to the naked eye, if it was up there it would be easy to see it, all of us could see it. Space boffin Dr. Brian Cox has also insisted Planet X does not exist.